good, guys? Welcome back to And That's Okay podcast, a podcast of understanding different walks of life, different people's journey, and overall a better understanding of the human mind. Today we have the singer, the songwriter, recording artist, the family woman, and the overall it girl, Sonia.
Man, it's amazing to be here with you today, Lacey. It's an awesome opportunity, and I thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you for being a part of season one. Of course, before we get into it, I'm going to ask you guys to like, subscribe, show love to the channel, of course, so we can have more lovely guests on. So today, I just want to start off by saying, how you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. I feel like every day that we're blessed to see is an amazing day, new opportunity.
I love that. I love that. So for you really specialize in helping people through your music.
Oh, yeah.
You really move people. So I just want to start by rewinding time a little bit and going back to your origins. So from what I saw, you had a pretty big family,
Absolutely.
to say the least, about 14 siblings.
Yeah, the real life Brady Bunch. I mean, his, hers, and ours. You know, my parents were married prior to marrying each other. So those children that they had individually came together, which, equaled 9. And then they got together and had 5. So we ended up with 14 total.
So where do you fall in the 14?
I'm number 13. Yes.
Essentially, you're like almost the youngest.
I was the baby for about 8 years. And then they decided at like 47 to have a baby. I'm like, what in the world? So,
Are you and your younger sibling, the very youngest, that 14th, are y'all pretty close?
We're close, yeah.
I could imagine.
We kind of had that little, little issue growing up because it was like, I'm the baby, But, we all love each other and we're great. We have a great relationship.
And I know that your father is a pastor and your mother was also, of course, by logic, heavily involved in church.
Absolutely.
And that's really where you got your musical starting. So you want to tell us a little more about how that was growing up in the church, 14 siblings, big family.
Crazy.
Pastor father.
Listen, it was crazy just because of the factor that it was kind of like the unofficial family music business. It was like you had to do something, So, I mean, of course, all of my siblings did something musically. If you didn't sing, you played an instrument or you did both. So I happened to do both, The Hours actually did both. All of us, we played an instrument and we sang. So I was a part of the McGuire trio. So we sang and we played instruments and we traveled with my father singing and playing those instruments. So we kind of grew up in it, had a love for it. And even now, we still, are moving in it pretty heavily. So for me, it was kind of like I didn't have a choice. You grew up hearing it every single day, watching my father playing, guitar, and he traveled quite a bit when I was younger, and my mom as well sang. So it was kind of like, it was in us,
Yeah.
We were kind of brought up. It was all around us, so it was kind of like that thing. But I was the one that really wanted to stay behind the scenes. I really didn't want to do it, but it was kind of like, So I grew up in it, and then like at 15, I started teaching, vocals, directing the choir, singing things of that nature. But I always wanted to stay behind the scenes, but they weren't going to allow that to happen.
So you really wanted to just teach and influence, and they were like, no, you are front center.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, though, because I still feel your music does still teach and influence.
Yeah.
But you're just doing it on a larger scale now.
Yeah.
But I did want to ask, with your childhood, with being one of many, was it hard for you to kind of, how do I say it, find that thing that makes you individual or unique or makes you stand out? Was that kind of hard for you, having multiple different siblings, brothers and sisters?
Well, I always looked up to my older siblings. I never saw myself doing what I'm doing now.
Right.
I think everybody else saw it, but I missed it. I missed it. It was like, But it's like amazing how, the script kind of flipped to me actually being able to do it, traveling all over the world and back, seeing myself on billboards you know, in Italy, or, riding down the highway, in Barcelona, Spain. Oh,
Right.
wow. Billboards on buses, on the front of Jazz magazines, or, things of that nature. So it's definitely like, wow. I never really saw it when I was younger, because I really did look up to my older siblings, but I never really saw myself doing it. But in turn, the way that everything flipped, it ended up being me, and not the ones that I grew up, looking up to, thinking that they were the ones that really had it and not me.
That's interesting. I could definitely relate to that. I don't have as many siblings. I only have 3, but I did always look to them and think, oh, they're doing this, they're doing that. Like, they're going to be those ones, like, to really make that change, to, go to that international level. And then somehow it all flipped and it was me.
Right.
So I understand what you're saying. Basically, you found a lot of your own path by just admiring what other people were basically doing.
Right.
I understand that. And then as far as for your music, if you want to tell my audience a little more about your genre of music and what you like to do with it.
Right. Well, my music, I consider it life music, because it's something that you can apply to your everyday life, no matter whether you're vibing, you're working out, you just want to, you want to party, whatever it is you want to do, it's something for everybody. Heartbreak, love, no matter what you're going through, it's something, on, the album or singles that I've released that you can really vibe to, that you can relate to. Pick me up, whatever it is, is something there. And the way that I get songs, because I write all styles, all genres of music, it's just one of those things to where I call it life, because it's something that you can apply to your everyday life, no matter where you are, no matter what you are dealing with. If you need something that is inspiring, it's there. If you need something that you can play on a Sunday, it's there. If you need something for heartbreak, it's there. Whatever it is that, you need, it's there. I've been blessed to be able to write some of everything.
Right. So for you, it just overall, it covers life, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Absolutely.
And I admire that. I do want to say, I definitely admire that, being that you can put yourself out there in the realest way possible. I always say that is going to get you the best results with your audience. It's going to garner a very relatable aspect to you, which you are very relatable. Yes, you post the international, she's in Barcelona, baby, but she also posts, I went through this, I went through that.
Absolutely.
I had a season of silence. I had multiple things going on. She doesn't stray away from it, which is really admirable, especially in the day and age of social media is only to post the good.
Yeah. It's a facade, people put up, and it's like, no, that's not real life. And people want to know, that they can make it just like, you can when you're going through something. I had to be transparent. I disappeared from the music industry for about 4 or 5 years. I lost my mother. I lost my dad. I lost my brother consecutively. And it's like, it was heavy for me. I'd never dealt with depression before, but I very so much found out what depression was through that time.
Right.
Those are hard things. Those are really things that people have to deal with. That's why I'm like, when you ask, how are you doing today? That's a very important question.
Right.
Because people look amazing on the outside, but they deal with so much turmoil on the inside. They struggle emotionally. They
Definitely.
really do. So it's kind of like, how do you, get to a place where, you're really okay?
Right. Exactly. And that's really what this podcast is about. The whole reasoning behind and that's okay. It's just a phrase I found myself saying a lot when talking with family, friends. It brings a lot of comfort to know that what you're thinking, what you're feeling is okay. So it's really just a form of validating human emotions. Because if not, you can go through seasons of the depression, of the self-harm, of the low extents maybe in life. So with that, I do want to rewind. I am so sorry for the passing of your mother, your father, your brother. I was reading that it was within a 14-month time frame. And I know that they were big influences for your career path.
Absolutely.
So if I can ask you, what gave you strength and what gave you clarity through that period?
One was not getting stuck.
Okay.
A lot of times we're so scared to feel the emotion and process through the emotion, we'll get stuck and we'll keep replaying things instead of processing through. You're going to feel the emotion of the pain. You're going to feel the anger. You're going to have the questions of why. You're going to have the questions of, how, But a lot of times people get stuck in the anger or they get stuck in the why.
Right.
And then they're processing through it. And when you don't process through a thing and you get stuck, in that one area, it becomes very hard to get out of that place. And it's like a replay over and over again of that thing. And you can never get through it if you get stuck in it.
Right. Constantly replaying
that same thing. You will never get the answers. You'll never be able to get out of that place. And that's how a lot of people end up, not wanting to be here anymore.
Right.
Because they can't get through that one area, and grief, dealing with anything, even in a relationship, it's still grief.
Right. It's still a matter of loss if the person is here or not.
If it's a job, whatever it is, it's still a process of a loss, And a lot of times when you don't deal with that loss and you don't go through the processes of healing in those different areas, you get stuck.
Right.
And it's like replaying that same thing over and over again. And before you know it, days have passed, months have passed, years have passed.
Even
you're
down
still
to decades.
stuck. And you're still stuck. And it's like it happened yesterday.
Right.
Because you don't get through that place. And you're stuck. And it begins to, end us from the inside out.
Right. Because it really overconsumes
because it affects
you.
our health.
Right.
Our mental health. It affects us emotionally, spiritually. It affects every aspect of us because of the factor that when it's not dealt with, it becomes like a disease that literally affects our overall being.
So for you, it was really mainly, I can't get stuck in this. I can't get caught in this never-ending cycle of thought.
Being transparent, I got stuck.
You actually got stuck. I got stuck. So she's speaking from experience.
I got stuck.
She got stuck.
And I began to just sit. Literally every day I would wake up, go downstairs, drink coffee, and sit on my sofa. And the time would just pass by. The days would pass by. The week would pass by. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to sing. I didn't want to write. I didn't want to do anything. Because I, in my mind, did not know how to function without my parents.
Right. And I mean, that is although you shouldn't get stuck, it is understandable that you even got stuck. I mean, it's one thing to lose one parent, but both.
Yeah.
That is a dual-ending sword to have to mourn both of them. So, once again, very sorry for your loss, of course.
Thank you.
And I do know that you believe in better places, of course.
Absolutely.
And as far as for when you finally came out of that, you remember how that was for you to realize I was in it and I'm somewhat out of it?
Well, my best friend at the time, because my kids were like, Mom, what's going on? You got to get out of the house. You got to, so my son was like, let's go to Andretti. Let's do these things to, get you out of the house. I started getting back out of the house. My best friend at the time was like, hey, you need to get in the studio. record. I was like, I don't have nothing to record. Oh, you can write, off a whim. So I'm like, whatever. So she had gotten in contact with my god brother and set up a studio session. And I was like, I have no clue. So I got to the studio session and I just began to dump. And I ended up writing a song called Stronger.
Okay. That's where Stronger came from.
That's where Stronger came from.
Okay.
And some of the lyrics are, you face so many things in your life already. Things that have found you broken and feeling heavy. But even at your lowest point, you're more stronger than imagined. And the tears begin to fall.
Yeah.
And, I don't think I'm not a public crier. But at that point, I literally just began to...
It poured.
It broke.
Yeah.
The depression broke. I mean, everything literally, it just poured out. So from that was my breaking point. Stronger than you think.
And for you, that's a really beautiful thing that you had that community of your kids being like, let's go out, of your best friend being like, I'm not even going to ask her, does she want to do this? I'm going to make her do it.
Right. And that's why it's important, too, to have people around you that love you enough not to allow you to sit in it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? To pull you out of it.
Like pulling you out of it, not asking,
right.
Oh, do you want to do this or do you want to go there? Like, no, we need to do this. Because if you ask, you ain't going to do it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
You're going to be like, oh, no, I'm not really into it.
But, we've become great maskers.
Right.
We mask things so well. Oh, I'm great.
Right.
But we're broken.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you even might be able to go out and have a great time in front of everybody. But you're broken.
And with our society, it almost preps women, especially, not to say men can't do it, but it preps women especially to be maskers. Like, we have to be the breadwinner, the parent, the good friend, the good sister, the good daughter. So we do tend to mask what we're going through in the presence of others. But you're saying with the community you had, they saw right through it.
Oh, they saw straight through it. Because a lot of times we learn how to function dysfunctionally because we have so many roles. We have so many titles to everybody else that we fail to see about our own self. And it goes back to, how are you doing?
Right.
How are you really doing?
Right.
Because we learn how to function dysfunctionally to the point where we just keep pushing ourselves back to be the friend, to be, the confidant, to be, there for everybody else when we're not there for ourselves. We learn how to function dysfunctionally.
Truly. And it really takes a amount of unwiring to even do that, especially for a person like you. I know you were a vessel for your family. You're like the glue holding a lot of your family together. Mm-hmm. So for you to say you're not okay, it's like, oh, this is real. This is serious. This is something we all need to band together for.
Right.
So when you did come up out of it, you triumphed, you had Stronger. Mm-hmm. And how did When come along?
When came along because, again, it goes back to, you never know how strong you are until you get to the other side of it. Most people don't think they can make it through. That's why they give up.
Right.
When I was scrolling through Facebook and even on TikTok, there was a 22-year-old young lady that was going through some things. Mm-hmm. She celebrated a birthday.
Right.
And most people couldn't believe that she's no longer here.
Right.
Because she masked it.
Right.
So when came about, even looking through Stronger, when came about because when you get in the mean times, and there will be mean times in between times.
Right.
You're stronger than you think. You don't know how strong you are until you make it to the other side of that very thing that you thought might take you out. But if you hold on and trust the process, everything will be all right. Mm-hmm. when you get to the other side of that, it's winning season.
Right.
It's winning season.
Right.
Every day that I wake up, it's a win.
Right.
Every challenge that I face, it's a win.
Right.
I won't give up. I
Right.
won't give in. It's a win. I feel that our perception determines our outcome in every situation.
Right.
So the hook to the song is, I'm going to talk like a winner,
Right.
walk like a winner, think like a winner, overcome like a winner. I'm a win, 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 win. And I say that because when you talk it, whatever you say out into the atmosphere, I believe it takes life.
Power of the tongue.
Power of the tongue. Affirmation. Whatever you say, you can have. You can look for it to take form. When you walk in it, you're walking and you're believing about what you've already spoken out into the atmosphere that you can have. And you overcome by the words that you speak and that you walk and that you believe.
Right.
Winning is the ultimate outcome of it all. So I'm going to talk like a winner.
Right.
When I get up in the morning, when I wake up, I have another day.
Right.
I have another opportunity. I have another chance to do something different, to do something better, to win. If I get up in the morning, oh man, I'm sick. You're speaking what you are going to look for
Right.
throughout that day.
You're speaking what you'll live.
That's it. Today's an amazing day. Every day, I wake up. I said I'm thankful for my destiny helpers. I'm thankful for the money that's going to come to me. I'm thankful for another chance to meet another creator that I'm going to exchange in business with. I'm thankful. You know what I'm saying? I speak that, and every day what I speak, I see. You know why? Because I'm looking for it.
Right.
Man, don't nothing go right. Guess what happens that whole day?
Nothing will go right. Nothing
Because
can't go right.
Right, because I spoke it. And that's what I bring to me, because I spoke it.
Exactly. And with winning, your definition of winning is really on the perception of life, from what you explained. We'll switch gears a little bit. We'll go to failure. Would you agree that the only way to fail is to not even attempt at all?
Absolutely.
That's something we're pretty big on here, is that the only essence of failure is the essence of no effort.
That's it.
Has there ever been a time where you've had to, I know it's never affected you because you give effort in everything you do, but has there ever been a time you've had to explain that concept of winning versus failure to someone? Oh, you didn't fail. You learned something from this. Mm-hmm. You didn't fail. You took something away from it.
I was at the doctor's office, signing in. Didn't want to be there, but I had to be there.
Right.
There was a lady that came out. I'm sick of this, and I lost this and I lost that. I said, "Ma'am, how you doing today?" Mm-hmm. I said, "You are absolutely beautiful." I said, and the other thing about it, it's a beautiful day to be alive because somebody didn't wake up today.
Right.
I said, and trust me, I understand loss because I've lost quite a bit. But I choose to see this day as a blessed one because I was alive to see it.
Right.
I said, I choose to see this day as an amazing one because I have food, I have shelter, I have clothes, I have a vehicle to drive, I have legs to walk, I have my right mind. I choose to see the beauty in this day. No, things are not perfect. Things are not the way that I might want them to be. But the reality of it is that we're here. She said, you know what? I said, what? She said, you're right. I said, oftentimes when we speak negative things, that's what we draw into ourselves.
Right.
I said, but when we choose to speak the positive, that's what we draw into ourselves. I said, so we got to be careful what we speak, because what we speak is what we see, because that's what we draw unto ourselves. I said, so next time, instead of saying I'm sick and I'm this, I said, that's what you're drawing into yourself.
Right.
I said, so you got to understand the only thing that beats a failure is a try.
Right. And that's a word right there.
I said, so you got to be careful of what you keep speaking. Nothing will change until you change.
Which is true. That is beyond true. Not because how could you possibly be blessed with more when you don't give more? You know?
Yeah. And it's real. So I mean, I've had several people that I've talked to, and I've had to give, examples to. I've had to encourage. I hear what you're saying. But before I hear what you say, I've got to see what you do.
Right.
Because again, we can talk all day long about what ain't going right and what ain't. What have you done to move towards what you want to see go right?
Exactly.
There's a difference. We can talk all day long, but the effort that you put forward to where you want to go is an investment.
Which, and in turn, with that investment, it also is just a game changer. When you can not be bothered or fazed by the little things in life that don't go wrong, you are really prepped for the big things that go right.
That's it. Because when you fail to plan, you fail to win.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just real. I mean,
It's
the
real.
reality of it is every little step. I've seen so many people that have lost everything, but they refuse to quit because the stick-to-itiveness will not allow them to lay in a place and die.
Right.
A lot of Christians will talk about, oh, you got to have the faith the size of a mustard seed. But it's not just the size of a mustard seed. It's the persistency and the consistency of it that it refuses to quit. No matter what comes against it, no matter what you put on top of it, it will not hit that hard place and die. It'll grow sideways, it'll grow crooked until it finds a place to come up. So a lot of times in life, we'll hit a hard place and we give up. We won't have that stick-to-itiveness that refuses to quit and die unproductive. We'll hit that hard place and give up. No.
Right.
That's not how you overcome. That's not how you win. You keep going. No matter what comes, no matter what goes, you refuse to quit. You refuse to hit that hard place and just give up.
Right.
Because just like this podcast, because you went and not just was blessed with the concept and the idea, you moved on it.
Right.
And every person that listens to this podcast is placing seed inside of them. Man,
exactly.
Look at what she's doing. This blessed me. This touched me. This encouraged me. Because every person that comes and sit on this sofa is going to be spoken to, their heart, in their mind. They're going to be encouraged. They're going to be motivated. They're going to be moved. They're going to invite other people. You've got to listen to this podcast.
Right. And for the podcast itself, it really came about after, this has been something that I've been in the works of doing for people really don't know, about 5 years. And it really just took for me to, like you said, move on it. I was done with the talking, the waiting for the contract, waiting for the production deal. I was tired of just trying to work with friends and do you want to do this and we could host together. God really had to sit me down and say, Lacey, you can do this on your own.
That's it.
You can do it on your own. You can find the space. You can buy the camera. You will get the guest.
That's it.
So for me, it really was just a faith-based move. And with faith, I did also want to ask you, I know you're very heavily protected, covered in the Lord's glory, of course. I did want to ask, give me 1 second. I did want to ask, is there any misconceptions or any generalization about faith that bothers you a little bit, that you would like to clear up? Because you know there's a lot of people that will use the Bible or different quotes to their personalized liking. Is there anything you'd like to maybe clear up misconception wise? People that assume the Lord meant this when he really meant that.
Well, I think a lot of times people use faith, and it's good to believe.
Right.
But faith is more than just believing.
Right.
The scripture says faith without works is dead. And that simply means we can pray all day, we can believe all day. But if you don't put work in with your faith,
Right.
what is between faith and works?
Right.
You could have believed all day, oh, it's going to happen, it's going to happen, it's going to happen. But if you didn't put forth the effort, if you didn't set this up,
Right.
faith all day was great. But until you stepped into what you were called and ordained to do, it would have just been your faith. Another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more years.
Right.
Faith is great. But faith without works, the action behind faith. I believe. But until you put your hands to work with that faith, it's just faith.
It is truly. And that is a common mindset. You know, they do have people where, you know, they worship and they practice a beautiful practice of religion, but when it comes to putting the work behind it, putting the effort behind it, they don't meet God where God wants them to meet them.
Absolutely.
They're at the praying and waiting level, but God wants you to be at the investigation level, the research level, the moving level into what you need, to make it happen. And I mean, it is faith-based. It also goes down to simply science. An inanimate object that is not moving will not move until you put motion in. We are the objects. Until we put motion into what we're doing, we will not move, not 1 inch. So for me, it was very important to, yes, pray, but also with praying, when he brings you those solutions, you actually have to follow through with them.
Absolutely.
You actually have to go see about what he's talking about in real life,
Absolutely.
you know?
Because he'll bring to you, for example, he'll say, hey, let me bring this A-list artist, this A-list reporter, this A-list. He'll bring him to you and sit him in your lap.
Right.
But if you didn't do the work and you don't have all of this stuff that you have set up, guess what? You prayed and he brought everything you needed, but you didn't do the work.
Right.
So because you didn't do the work, he's brought connections, he brought everything you needed, but you're not prepared.
Right.
So you miss the opportunity because you had the faith, but you didn't do the work.
So would you say the relationship between God and a human is more like a partnership,
Yes.
Not in a romantic sense, of course, but in the literal sense of, I will bring you resources. I've given you the ability. Now you have to do it. Oof, that's a word right there. That's a word.
That's real.
That's a word.
It's real. Because a lot of things that God has favored me to do and be able to do, I did them. And I miss, transparent again, I've been on some stages with some of the most world-renowned artists, and I've traveled all over the world. And in the beginning, I was not prepared.
Right.
I didn't have a CD recorded, but I'm traveling all over the world. I didn't have a CD to sell, but I'm traveling all over. You understand what I'm saying?
Right, though.
So
I
he blessed me
understand.
with the stages. He blessed me with the platforms. I was all international. Didn't
Right.
have a CD to sell. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
He opened up the doors. My faith didn't match up with my work at the time. Because instead of the horse pulling the carriage with a weight on it, the carriage was dragging the horse.
Right. And I will say too, that does come with learning pains
Absolutely.
too.
Absolutely.
The pain of the knowledge you didn't know. Oh, I didn't know this, or I didn't figure this. I didn't think that further in that time, making me miss the opportunity in hand. I've had many moments like that too.
Yeah.
I've had many moments like that too. Even down to, yes, I do the podcast, but I am traditionally a makeup artist. I've had so many times where I've done the podcast. People are like, oh, your makeup looks so good today. I didn't think to offer that service to them before we even filmed. Or I've been working in fashion shows, no business card.
Yeah.
Gotta pull out the Instagram.
Listen, a very expensive lesson, but that's why you have to subscribe,
Right.
follow, and share this podcast, because it's so many things that you're going to be able to learn from Lacey. It's
Right.
so many things that you're going to be, your eyes are going to be open. You're going to have
Right.
that aha moment, because
Right.
this is what she's done the work on.
Right. And I never try to gatekeep. I mean, I'd rather you learn your own lesson than learn my lesson twice.
Right.
And as far as for you, I know you are constantly learning. You're an everlasting sponge. You actually developed 4 different programs to help, I want to say, the people in need. You developed 4 different programs to help people in need through your music. Do you want to outline and tell us about those?
Well, Sing for a Cure is one where we gather for Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that is to be a blessing to those that have either lost a parent to breast cancer, or who has a parent that is currently struggling with breast cancer. So we provide scholarships for those students that are either in college or either in elementary or high school. We help with books. We help with whatever the need is. We also have paid bills or gotten cars fixed, computers. We've done all kind of things there. Project Think, which is a organization that partners with troubled teens. We want to literally try to get in their heads and cause them to think about things before they make decisions that can alter the rest of their lives. Because a lot of times, young people don't think prior to their movements. They get involved with groups and things that they should not get involved with that, really can land them in the system. And it's hard to get out of. Even being with the wrong people at the wrong time can change your life, even if you didn't do anything. So we try to get in there and speak with them, one-on-one sessions, just to cause them to think. Psalms of Thanks is what we do. It's an initiative where we go out and we provide care packages for the homeless.
Okay.
We do that. We have purses, and we have care packages for the men that have toiletries and non-perishable food items that they can just kind of get, to eat. Because a lot of times now, unfortunately, the city has kind of banned. We used to go out and feed, but they've kind of banned that. Get ticketed for that now. So we do like non-perishable things that they can do, as well as toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, sanitary napkins, as well as shaving stuff for the men, blankets, pillows. We do coats, whatever the season is, we adjust for that. And the other one is Soul Thankful, which we do as well around Thanksgiving and Christmas. And that's when we provide meals for families that are less fortunate, and as well for the homeless. So we try to make sure that we have an impact, that we're not just, it's great to sing.
Right.
It's great to do that, but I want to make sure that we're not only doing that, but we're making an impact in the community as a whole, that they know that we're there, you know, and if there is a need, that whatever we can do, we're able to do it. We're able to give back, sow seeds into the community that, you know, if there is a need, that they can call on us and we'll be there, you know.
And that's a beautiful thing. I noticed in your 4 programs, it's basically the 4 pillars. You're there for the injured or the sick with breast cancer, the youth, the elderly, and the unhoused, unsheltered. Why was it important for you to develop programs around the 4 pillars of the community?
Because I feel like I've sat and watched people pass away from not receiving the help that they could have from a lot of these major organizations that say, "Oh, we're here." I've watched people literally pass away. I had a nurse that had 2 young daughters that passed away, trying to get help from the commercials that you see.
Right. It's like we're here, but
could
are
not-
you really here?
Could not get help. I was on the phones myself, and I watched her pass away. Had 2 young daughters, 12 and 14, watched their mother pass away. And she was an RN, but could not get the help. I reached out to multiple organizations, could not get the help. And I wanted to make sure that she could. I also, in me and my children, it started, we were going out to give out food and stuff to the homeless, and people didn't have jackets, they didn't have shoes. So, of course, you know, my sons were taking off their coats and their shoes. We ran out of food, so we were going to different restaurants trying to gather food, buy food, and then we had exhausted all of our resources there. So we went to the store trying to make sandwiches and grab chips and things of that nature, trying to still make sure, because we still had families that were in need. We had one family that had just lost their home. They couldn't afford to continue to pay the homeowners insurance, but they lost their home. You know, Salvation Army, you know, they had extended the hotel stays and all that kind of stuff. So they were on the street, a whole family. You know, so I'm like, Lord, you know, what can we do? So we're on every aspect of it. I've just seen it so up close and personal. And it's like, the lady was just like, "Can I just give you a hug?" And I'm like, absolutely.
Right.
You never know what a person is going through, and you never know when you might be in that situation.
Right. And that is truly the humility of it all, is that we are all just one bad situation away
Yeah.
from being in a place of dire need. I really, really, really understand that. With my family, we are long generations of being from New Orleans, deep New Orleans culture. So, you know, when Hurricane Katrina hit, that made it so real to all of my family. Wow, we are really just one bad day
Yeah.
away from like living on the street or sleeping on the highway or being in the Red Cross lines. And you're right, the big corporations, they are not always there. I mean, I don't think the president had a response until 9 days later,
Yeah.
and he was in Texas. That's just one state over. You know, he didn't respond until about 9 days. I believe the financial help we got, it was not until months later. And it really gave me a real respect of what people are going through. You really don't know. And you don't know that feeling until you're up against it.
That's real.
When you're in those really deep waters, you don't know where to go. You don't know what you're going to do, and you're just trying your best. That lifeline, I really relate to that. When you said you saw homeless people, your children were taking off their clothes, giving it. When we first came to Georgia, we luckily had a home with family, but of course we had nothing, right?
Right.
So that's no exaggeration. That's no dramatics for the camera. We had nothing.
Yeah.
So, because we didn't think it would be that bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people left their stuff. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people had to escape in time. We were in line on the way to Red Cross, and we had our Red Cross shirts on. Someone simply just walking down the street, just two older gentlemen. They saw us. They were like, "Oh, y'all are from New Orleans. Y'all, the hurricane just hit." My mom was like, "Yeah, we got out in time. We evacuated." And this man, literally, he took his shoes off of his feet and took his shirt off and gave it to my little brother, because my brother only had shorts on. And that level of, I'll give you that helping hand.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to ask, well, what did you do to cause this?
Right.
I'm just going to help. That is a beautiful thing. When you do.
It is.
When you do your next program, I can't sing, but I would love to help for sure. I would love to help. And as far as for your upcoming projects, your upcoming things you're looking forward to, anything you want to let us know about, we should look out for, promote, anything like that?
Well, first of all, go and grab Win. Win is a uplifting, motivating. It's an everyday song. It's a wake up. It's a song full of affirmation. It's a song full of love and life that is applicable to your everyday life. I'm getting ready to drop more music, but you can follow me all across social media. I am Sonya McGuire, Sonya McGuire Music. You can follow me everywhere. I would love to connect with you, love to share my music with you. Just love, all across the board. That's really what I'm about. Uplifting and just showing love and sewing into people, just like I've been sewn into.
And can they stream Win?
Spotify,
Apple
Music,
YouTube Music.
Yep.
Okay. All righty. And with that, I think we're done, guys. Of course, make sure you show her some love on her socials. Make sure you like, you comment, you subscribe, and let us know if you'd like to have her back. There's so much more we could get into. We're just running on a little time frame. But thank you again for watching, and stay tuned.